Greetings and salutations. Ryan here, setthebase.triathlon.com, and we're going to talk about Ironman Des Moines 2022, and we are going to talk about the run course. It has changed because in 2021, this race was a 70.3 race. So we need to add a couple miles, 13.1 to be exact, either 26.2 for the full. So we're going to go over to the run course because I did the race in 2021 as a half, and pretty much you go to the Ironman Des Moines website, you hit the run course, pull up the map, and it's pretty much a very similar course to what we had in 2021 for the half. If you look, this little leg here down at the end on Bill Trail goes out a little bit further than it used to, and a little bit extra U-turns added. So let's start with where transition at is in Waterworks Park. So this is the green area is T2. So you come in here. This is where you start the run, and you come through and you head off to the left. It looks like no, to right. I take that back. So you hit to the right, and then you come out and you do the out and back. You come out and run all the way down, hit this little hiccup here, run all the way down, U-turn, come all the way back, turn over here to the right, go around Grays Lake, go all the way downtown, do a U-turn right in front of the finish line, and then come back out and do a whole nother loop. So that makes it a little bit interesting because, especially at the half, they did the same thing. We had to run down, and you had to do a U-turn. You could look down the street and see the finish line, knowing that you had to come back and do a second loop, especially in 2021 when it was getting hot. I personally kind of ran low on my hydration situation and kind of ran myself into the ground. So the last 2 to 3 miles were kind of a crap show. There was some walking going on, and everything I could do to not throw up during the race did end up throwing up after the race, and felt very horrible for a little bit of time. So just be ready. Even though it's June in Iowa, it can be warm. It was storming, so they delayed the start of the race for us. They cut the bike course in half, still does swim, half the bike, the full run distance. But on the run, the sun came out, it got humid, it got hazy, it got hot, and it was just disgusting. And I was doing great till about mile 7 or 8, and the wheels just fell off, and it was a crap show to the finish line. So be ready. June in Iowa, can get warm. Pay attention to the forecast. Be ready for that. Be on top of your hydration. Looking specifically at the run course, turn by turn directions, see an elevation gain of 500 feet. So really there's not a huge amount of elevation gain. The only real elevation gain is this little section here, Floor Drive, when you go up over the river. It's a little bit of a long climb uphill to get over the bridge and into downtown. And past that, everything else is pretty flat. Really don't have to worry about too much. There's just a couple little rolling hills here around Grays Lake, but nothing, especially on this trail, is pretty flat. Nothing really challenging in that regard as far as elevation gains or losses or anything like that. But like I said, be ready. It can be hot. Bring sunscreen. Make sure that you've got plenty of sunscreen on you that you put in T2. I'm sure they'll have some out on the course for you guys. But just be ready. It could be warm or it could be cold. Just pay attention to the forecast and just be ready for the conditions out there, because coming in downtown, like especially on Floor Drive here, there's no coverage. There's no shade. There's no trees. You're just exposed out there. On the trail system, you have a little bit of coverage, but there's sections here where you're just kind of wide open, especially when you're running around Grays Lake. All these little roads, there's wide open. There is no shade. There's no coverage. Just be ready for that. If the sun is out, it will bake you on this course. Just make sure that you're prepared for that. And I hate to bring it up, and I hate to try to scare people or whatever, but I just want you to be ready. A lot of people, and especially I was kind of caught in this boat, especially last year, especially race day. It was like storming. It was a little bit cooler. They delayed the race, and it just looked like it was being cloudy most of the day. But as soon as we got on the bike, the clouds kind of broke a little bit. And when we got back to the run, they broke substantially. Sun was out, sun was hot, and it was just humid and gross and nasty, and definitely not what I thought I was going to get doing a kind of a northern race. It just goes to show you anything can happen on race day. But like I said, at least as far as this course goes, The elevation profile, it's not going to be, there are some rollers, especially this long climb here, especially when you're going up a Fluor Drive to the finish line area. But other than that, there's really no substantial climbs or long, just huge steep hills or anything like that and really killer. But you are going to be, when you get downtown, there's at least coverage of the buildings and stuff. But when you're along this little park here, there's really, on Locust Street, there's no coverage, a few little spots, but you're just out there and you're exposed. And if you're not ready for it, it can bite you pretty good. So I just want you guys to be aware on the run course. Like I said, it's not super challenging, but start area is different than the finish area. So for your spectators, if they're going to come catch you out of transition area, make them aware of the finish line. And there's trail systems to get over here so they can walk down these trail systems. There's like some little hidden trail systems that aren't shown on this map. We'll see if we can find them on Google Maps for you. So you see this little trail system. You can actually walk. See up Fluor Drive, this is this bridge. It's a little bit steep. So if you can walk this little trail system, kind of goes up in downtown area. So you'll want to Locust Street, and then you'll see everything that's down here in downtown, stuff like that. But you'll see, I mean, it's probably, if you're looking at the run map, 16, 18, 16, 18, 2. It's probably going to be a couple mile hike for spectators to get from the transition area over there. So they do have a shuttle system that will take you from the finish line to the transition area to get all your stuff. That's where everything is going to be at. It's not going to be at the finish line. So that's a little bit of, I guess, a logistical issue. Transition is so far away from the finish line. There's really, after this race, you're not going to want to walk this probably. It is a long hike, and it's going to add miles to your day that you really probably don't need. But they're going to have a shuttle system that gets you over there. So just be ready for that. This is where Ironman Village and everything is going to be at. So transitions down here. Usually they're going to have parking at, there's a little area down south in the industrial area. This is where they have the parking, and then you have to walk all the way down here. So just make sure your spectators are aware this is where all the parking's at, this business center. And then there's going to be, there's parking downtown, but it's going to be kind of dicey at best. Really around transition, there is no parking. This little parking lot, Ironman takes over, that does everything. Now, this is where buying VIP could come in handy. In the VIP section, you get access to this little parking lot area back here. So you just walk over a little hill, and then here it is in Waterworks Park. And on the amphitheater area, that's where they have the VIP area. So it's kind of elevated, kind of nice. It's covered, especially when it's raining. You can go in there and kind of have coverage. So just be aware of that. When you're doing the run, the finish line area and transition area are a little bit separated. So there's going to be a little bit, you want to be able to have enough energy to find the shuttle, get on it, and then get back to the transition area, get your stuff. If you're going to park, it's unfortunately going to be a hike, and it is uphill from this little area up to the business center area. There really is no parking back in here. They're going to ticket and tow people. It's kind of residential / business / industrial park area back here. There's really no parking, and they're going to tow you guys. So don't count on parking back here for your exit after the run. So just be aware of that, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in the spectator guide portion video. But for the run, this is basically it. I mean, you're going to have 2 loops, actually 3 loops. I take that back. I spoke too soon. 3 loops. So hopefully you watch the video long enough to know that you're going to come back here. You're going to pass the finish line 2 times. That's going to be super fun. When you come back to the finish line the first time, you're like, oh yeah, I got one more time. I have to go around this sucker. Then you're going to come back and see it a second time. You're like, that's going to suck because I got to come back through here again. Then you hit the finish line. So you're going to get to know this course really, really well. Fluor Drive 3 times. That's going to be, I think, the biggest challenge. So make sure you saved a few matches, especially towards the end. And you hit Fluor Drive for that last little climb up before you get to the finish line. So make sure that you're on, save a little bit of energy for that climb. You can see here the maps. This little exit road ramp here you take, and then they put you up on the bridge. And when you cross the bridge, it's a little bit of an uphill. and then they get you into downtown, and then it flattens out, and it's not as bad. But like I said, you're going to be exposed a lot on this course. There's not going to be much coverage for trees. So if it's sunny, if it's hot, you need to be prepared for that and be ready, because it can bite you if you're not ready. So I know I've talked for a little bit. Hopefully this helps you out as far as your planning for the run course for Ironman Des Moines for 2022. If you got any questions, put them in the comments. If you see it on Facebook, give it a like. If you see it on YouTube, give it a like. Give me subscribe to see future videos, notifications. Got any comments, put them in there. I always get back and see the comments there. And if you have any good stuff or anything I missed, let me know. I'd like to put them in there and make this as accurate as possible. With that, I bid you adieu. Happy training. Good luck out there, and we'll see you out on the race course.